Good afternoon and welcome to this Facebook Live on the Firstbeat Lifestyle Assessment. What is this? Well, if you've read my previous articles, the last couple of articles I often referred to being in your red zone or in your green zone. I also referred to this or explained it in the first video of this series. You can always go back and have a look at it, mid-September. Basically, all day long, we are either using energy from our battery, and therefore we also have to recharge this battery. Now, our nervous system exists of two parts, the sympathetic and the parasympathetic. The sympathetic is the and the parasympathetic is the also explained this in previous videos. Now, what people do not know, or sometimes just forget, is that it's not only stress that's gonna take energy from your battery, it's also normal life. Just acting, being around, being about is also taking energy. So you can empty your battery without really experiencing stress. Now, if you are experiencing a lot of stress, it's going to go quicker. But it's not because you're not experiencing stress that you're not using anything from your battery. So it still needs to be charged. Now, the using energy, red, recuperating, filling the battery again, recharging, green, basically. Now, this charging of the battery is very important, because if you don't, and you have an empty, or even like half a battery or 3/4 filled, and you start again the next day, it's going to be harder to do that. It's going to require more energy from a battery to do your normal tasks. And if you are you're really having a low battery and you're still working as normal, and again, you're not necessarily experiencing stress, but you are using energy from your battery, you could go to burnout without really experiencing stress. And we wouldn't want that to happen, would we? So, it is very important to know, is my charging system still working? Because it is possible that you think you are recuperating, you are reading a book, you're watching some television, and you think, yeah, now the battery is charging, that you're not, that you are stuck in the red zone. And that is a danger. So, the $1 million question, how resilient are you really? Can you measure it? Yes, you can measure it through this Firstbeat lifestyle assessment. You can order one from me, or also from somebody else. There are names and addresses on the firstbeat.com website. And I'm going to talk you through the whole process. And more importantly, I'm going to talk you to one of my old reports. I chose to use an old report, even though that means that some of the graphics are slightly different. I have to say in the new version, they are a bit clearer. But I chose the old one because it was not so good. And so from educational purposes, it's better to learn from my mistakes than to show you a very good report. Because what's in it? I look better, but you don't really learn. So I'm willing to look bad for you. Isn't that nice of me? So what's the process? First, you have to order this, obviously. And there's a link on my website to order this. And what do you need to order? Well, you have to pay, and you have to pay upfront because I also have to pay upfront. I will then discuss with you when I'm going to send you the device. It's kind of going to be me who's going to send it if it's in Belgium. If it's outside of Belgium, it's going to be sent by the company in Finland, Firstbeat. And so I need a physical address to send it to. I need an email address because you will receive links. I'll tell you more about those links in a minute. And that's basically it. We might also already settle on a date for the meeting, but we can also do that afterwards. So, when you receive the links, what's important? First of all, to give all the basic details like your age, weight, height, and some other things. They're also going to ask you some questions, but those I will show you in the report because that's easier. And there's also a link to a kind of agenda, which you can fill in either on your computer or on a smartphone, where you're going to put in some, how shall I say, indications as to what you were doing at that moment. So for instance, you can fill in every day, I worked from, for instance, 9 till 5. I went to bed at 10. I watched television from 7 to 10. I was doing sports then. And then afterwards, it's going to be easier to read and interpret the report. Now, you don't have to do this really minute by minute, but like some things, that's very useful. Also, should you have a really stressful moment, do indicate it. And now we can look how your body reacted. Okay? So that you do during. So when you have ordered it, you will receive the package. If I send it, it will come in a box like this. And in the box, there will be this smaller box. This smaller box, I'll open it with you. Looks like this. And we have the device that's going to measure your heart rate variability, and that's this. So it's not very big. It looks even a bit bigger here, I think, because of the camera. Okay, but I'll show you in a bit. You will also have probably 10 of these stickers, and you need them to attach this to yourself. Yes, you have to wear this physically for 3 days and 3 nights. Ideally, 2 working days and 1 weekend day or a week off, because it's better to see, is there more recuperation on a week off? Because ideally there should be, on a day off, there should be. So what do? You clip the stickers very easily on the device, one on this side, voila, and one on the other side, voila. And then you have this. And that you're going to attach to yourself. I'm not going to show this on myself, or I'm going to be thrown off Facebook because of the indecent behavior. But I have a picture of a very athletic torso. So the bigger one goes on the right above your chest, and the smaller one goes on the other side, the left, just underneath. So you see, like this. You wear this, as I said, for 3 days and 3 nights. It doesn't really, it's not really annoying to wear. You can take it off every day to have your shower. I give you spare stickers so that every day you can change the stickers, no problem whatsoever. I find it only a little annoying at night when you're sleeping. Maybe you're used to sleep in a certain position and that might be a bit annoying. But if you sleep in another position, it might be just perfect for you. Also, it doesn't have to show under your clothes or anything, so you can just go to work. Nobody's supposed to notice. So you wear this for 3 days, 3 nights. On the 4th morning, so after your 3rd night, you take it off and you send it back to me. When it gets here, I generate a report through my link with Firstbeat. And this is actually why I pay for them, part of what I pay for them, to them as well. And then automatically a report is generated based on the data that were registered, and also based on the huge database they have already, like to put you somewhere in the group. Like, are you average? Is your result very good or not? And so on and so forth. Then we book a meeting and we have half an hour online and I talk you through the report and then I give you the report. After the report, depending on how it was, you might want to work on this further or not, but I'll talk about this later. So let's go to my report. So I repeat, this report is one from May last year. It's not so good. Well, not so good. It's not awful, but it's not so good. I was feeling normal, so it was not like a particularly stressful situation, although I had chosen a couple of days which were a bit stressful, because that's the masochist in me, probably. Like I wanted to see the effect of that on my body. It was a Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Thursday, Friday, I had a course in Brussels. Driving to Brussels is always a bit stressful. Just to measure, I chose to stay in Brussels on Thursday night, just to see if that helped. And then on Saturday I was at home. In the morning I had a coaching session. In the afternoon I was free. And at night I had a party, which is also not usual that I go out late and I go to bed late. So this is the setting. Also, I told you already, the layout has slightly changed. I think now it's better, it's even clearer, but it'll still do for the exercise. So let's have a look. So we go. Voila, here we are. So you receive something like this. And me in May, this is a result of a printout of the questionnaire that I filled in. I think I am physically active enough to get my health benefits. I thought partially agree. I think it's intensive enough to improve my fitness, since I have no idea. I said I cannot say. In my opinion, my eating habits are healthy. I said partially agree. It wasn't maybe not that perfect then. There are moments where I say very healthy, and so on and so forth. Okay. And then you go through the different days. So per day, there's going to be a sheet. So here you see the classic data, all the things that you gave before. So your age, height, weight, and so on and so forth. And this is one day, the measurements of one day. Here you clearly see red and green, okay? But without going really in detail on every single thing, I'll go through it as if I were giving you feedback. So first I would ask you, how were those 3 days for you? Was there anything specific going on, or would this be standard? That would be my first question. And then we're going to look at 5 different things. We're going to look at your sleep pattern. Is the sleep period long enough? Do you have good recovery? That's one. We're going to look at, is there any recovery during the day? We're going to look at stress and recovery imbalance, question mark. We're going to look at your physical activity and its benefits. And does your physical activity have any effect on your fitness? Day by day. So if we look at this day, you can see that my night is very green. So that's very good. There is some red, but obviously that's not a problem. Here there's nothing. That's probably because I was not in the best position in bed, and probably I was or lying on the device or something. That's not a problem. So they do mention here that I didn't have a heart rate. Of course, my heart rate was there, but it was not registered for 12% of the time. Okay, so there are these little moments in time where it's not being measured, but that's okay. If there's too much missing heart rate, then usually the assessment is done again, because then maybe the result is not clear enough. Okay, so my sleep. So very green. I remember doing some meditation right before going to bed, and actually it brought me immediately to green, and I stayed in green most of the time. So here the red, or I went to the toilet or something. Possibly I had a bad dream. Maybe I was a bit processing things. I don't know, but it's a very little amount of red, so that's no problem whatsoever. They were also going to look at this in a different way. So you always have to self-report your sleep quality. I said quite good. The length of the sleep was good. Amount of recovery during sleep was good. The quality of recovery is only moderate. And this is something which is typical for me, so this is definitely not for everybody. I need to sleep a lot to have a good quality. Some people can sleep less, but have a better quality and therefore are going to score higher. So that's not so nice for me. So this is a sleep. Okay, so now it looks slightly different. There's more numbers out of 100, and so it's clearer, and it always says where you fit into your age group. So that, I think now that looks better, the sleep. The second thing is, and of course you do this for every single day. So I go back to sleep for the other one. Second day, here, my very first surprise. Look, all the red in that night. This is of course going to have an effect. I'll tell you afterwards why I think it was so red. So sleep, length still good, amount of recovery not so good, quality borderline poor. So that's not so good. Why did that happen? Now, of course, I can't be 100% sure, but I did do some work right before going to sleep. I also, when I watched television, I was not recuperating, even though I thought I was. So possibly this was going on. Also, the next morning, I had a coaching session, a first time with a person, and a new type of coaching. So possibly at some subconscious level, I was processing this. So red. Now, this means that I do not recuperate enough. One night, not a problem. Night after night, week after week, month after month, it could be a problem. Day 3 gets worse. Told you it was going to be brutally honest. I had a party. I go to bed at 1. It's only at 5 that my first green shows up. I do sleep longer, so it says that my sleep period was long enough, but the recovery was poor. Well, you can only see this from the colors as well. You don't necessarily have to do any calculation. Why is this so red? One reason, at 11, I started to dance. And not just some slow dancing, no, old school, new wave dancing. Possibly, this brought my adrenaline up, well, not possibly, probably, and because of that, I did not go to green when I went to bed. Also, because it was a birthday party, and also 10 years married, if I recall correctly, maybe more, maybe 15 or 20, I don't know, well, anniversary of a marriage also. I had one glass, and drink, an alcoholic drink, could also have an impact on not going into green quickly at night. So that night was not good at all. Okay? Afterwards, you'll see what that means in general. So that's the first thing we look at. Then we look at recovery during the day. So I go back to day 1. Is this day 1? No, Friday, so Thursday. Just a little bit. When I'm working, I have to admit there's not a lot of green during the day. And it makes me very jealous of one of my clients who, when she is coaching, which is part of her job, she can be green during the whole coaching session. This is wonderful because already recuperating during the day is amazing. Then if you don't sleep that well, you already have charged the battery a bit. So it's very good to have that. So I have only a little bit. So amount of recovery during work, he even says 0 minutes, even though I have a little green, but it doesn't count. On day 2, I have a little bit more here and here. But for instance, here when I'm watching television, just maybe 1 or 2 minutes, in this 1 hour, 45 minutes. So that was a bit shocking for me that I'm watching television on the sofa. I think I'm recuperating, and actually I'm not. Here on Saturday, there's a big chunk. Here is a very big chunk. And here there's some as well. So that's good. So those parts of green actually help me to deal better with the lack of green at night. So that's good. So probably here, where is it? Work? No. 3. So recovery was much more. Okay. Then 3 are stress and recovery in balance. I have to say on this one, it doesn't show so well. You have to calculate it yourself, more or less. So for instance, here you see that amount of stress reactions, even though it is 11 hours and 42 minutes, it's totally normal. Up to 60 is totally normal, okay? Amount of recovery was not so good. Another day. Oh no, that's already the summary, sorry. More than usual stress reactions. That was the Friday, I think. Also with not recovering at night, and then some red at night, in the middle of the night, yes. Amount of recovery, not so good. So here I didn't score very well. The next one we're having a look at is physical activity. So I didn't tell you that yet. So green is recuperating or recovery. Red is stress. Blue is activity. Light blue is light physical activity. Dark blue is really exercising. And, well, exercising, it's not that necessarily I'm really exercising, I'm really at the gym, but maybe if I walk, but it has a high rhythm, it could already qualify as exercising. And the level of it, which is going to be determined here, determines if it is helping you for your cardiovascular fitness and so on and so forth. So if I look at my activity, here, physical activity, 79 out of 100, that's good. Then here, 100 out of 100, lots of walking, and so on and so forth. And the last thing we look also at is, did this activity contribute to your level of fitness? They also look at calories. Okay. Now, what is the most important one for me? No, 2 important things. 2 important things are, what are your aha moments? So my aha moments were, for instance, wow, I danced that late and I only went to green at 5, even though I thought I was sleeping and I was recuperating. This was quite a bit of a shock. The fact that on day 2 I was watching television on the couch and I was still in red, shock. However, here I remember I was also watching television because I wrote it down, and there was total green. So you can't really say television is per se recuperation or not. So these were some ahas for me. Others maybe not so much. But what's very important, the last thing that's very important, the overview. They really take 3 days because everybody can have a very stressful day. And therefore, it is important to look at an overview of 3 days. So maybe, okay, work is very tough, but if then, on the other hand, during the weekend you really recuperate and your system works very well, so you always go easily from red to green, then there's no problem, really. It's only when also in the weekend you don't recuperate, or you notice that your battery is not really charging, that there's a problem. And that you can see here. So, I started on Thursday, and this is my starting level. My battery is getting empty. I go to bed. I had a beautiful green night, remember? And so I go up. I stay at the same level because of the red. And then I go up and I end up much higher. So I charge my battery more. I recuperate more than I had used. This is excellent. So of that I'm proud. But of course it doesn't stay that way. Day 2, I get up higher than I started, goes down, and I don't even recuperate at night a little bit, you see? So I go up, here it's red again, so I stay here, I go up. I am higher than starting level, but I'm not as high as I started that day. So I don't recuperate everything that I've used that day. Day 3, misery, total misery. I go down, a little bit up when I watch television in the afternoon, and completely down, 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 down. So I'm much lower than I went on Friday morning, and I'm also lower than my initial starting level. Okay, that was a bad night, and it doesn't mean that I am doomed, but this could be an indication, especially if you think, oh, I'm sleeping well, everything's fine, and then it shows you that actually maybe you're not recuperating. And if this goes on not just for 3 days, but for 3 months or 3 years, then it could indeed mean trouble. And they look at the different elements separately. So stress and recovery. First day, very well. Second day, not enough. Resources decreased. Here, they decreased a lot. Length of sleep, even though it's in general very good. I told you I sleep a lot because actually I need it. Amount of recovery going down. The quality, I think, also going down. Physical activity in general, very good. And these are my calories. So, as a little summary, what is measured? Your stress reactions. On average, you have a 50% of stress reactions, so that's absolutely normal in a 24-hour period. Your recovery, usually or on average 26%. Physical activity in different levels. The training effect. Physical activity index. The sleep, length of sleep, amount of recovery, and quality of recovery. And then also your steps. Okay. We go through this report. We come up with some insights. We share some things. And then you decide on some goals regarding stress management, recovery and sleep, physical activity, and nutrition. And this is basically what a feedback session looks like. I'm coming back. Voila, here I am. So, what do you think? I thought it was amazing when I saw it the first time. And I have to say that most of my clients who do this are also like, wow, this is very interesting. Now, what happens afterwards? Sometimes nothing. I had some bad surprises. Some people have very good surprises. One of my clients thought she was really not sleeping well and she was getting worried. Turns out, because she has a good quality of recovery, that she needs less sleep to be resilient, to recuperate enough. So that's great. I'm a little bit jealous, actually. Sometimes when you see, this could be better, or when you yourself want to invest a little bit in yourself, we can go a bit deeper. And you can choose to do this in just 1 hour, in half a day, or over a period of 3 months with 6 coaching sessions. All up to you. But for now, what do I want to say? I really wouldn't want you to constantly be in your red zone without you knowing it. Now, if you feel fantastic, really fantastic, there's probably nothing to worry about. If you sometimes feel tired without really knowing why, and with sleeping, so you are sleeping, you think you sleep enough, and still you're a bit tired, then I definitely think you should have a look at it. Because if you find out early enough, you can do something and it doesn't have to become a problem. It's only when you keep on going, and I know, that it could become a problem. Now, if you can't measure it, you can't manage it. But I just showed you, you can measure it, so you can manage it. Remember, you always have a choice. Thank you. Bye-bye.